lovers of freedom all over the world. How are you guys doing today? Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you all. Lovers of freedom all over the world. Where are you, my people? Where are you? I hope you are fine. Please be fine for us, so because now human being go enter the new state. Yes, I can see you, my brother. You are welcome. How are we all doing? I hope we are fine. My brother, you can indicate and help us click on the like button even as you share to other. Yes, you are all welcome. You are all welcome. I greet you. I'm giving shout out to you all. I can't call your names because you have not typed on the comment section. So you are welcome. Happy Sunday. I'm trying to invite others. So help me invite more people. Help us invite more people. Yes, I am seeing more people, so I am giving my shout out to you all, everyone that is present here already. Shout out to you. If I can see your names on the comment section, the shout out would have been more lovely. So you're welcome. You're welcome. I hope your Sunday is going fine. I hope your Sunday is going well. It will. I trust. Okay. Senator Enyinia Abaribe. He is in Arise TV a couple of hours ago. Maybe up to 48 hours now. So he granted them interview. They granted him interview. And he was there. So he continued the cry, and from him, you will hear him. The interviewer was asking him, the Arise interviewer was asking him, how long this supposed marginalization have lasted. And our brother Enyinia Baribe was sincere enough to tell the interviewer that this is an ancient treatment, that this intimidation is an ancient treatment. Then the man was more inquisitive. As ancient as how? He said from beginning. He said from beginning, from the very scratch, that the Igbo Biafrans have been treated with this utter disdain. So, some of them don't want to mention the name Biafra. They're so afraid. So he is telling them there that is just for the Igbos. Then if you ask him, outside the Igbos, are the South not also treated this badly? So why is he not mentioning it? But this one is very, very peculiar within the Igbo in this particular case. But in this particular distribution of or sharing of values, allocation of values. This appointment issue that he is raising here, it affects the Igbos more. It affects the Igbos more. But the issue is, are you going to take care of it with just making complaints? Yeah, South Valley. Is that your name, South Valley? South Valley, are you one of us? Why are you interested in our discussion? Who are you? Who are you? And where are you responding from? Are you one of us? If you are one of us, you are welcome. If you are not one of us, you can do good to get lost. You can do us good to get lost, okay? We won't entertain any distractions. We won't entertain distractions. So I am about to play from Engineer Baribe, so that you will see if he has anything. Peace. Oh, okay. Okay, you are just a wandering Jews. You are welcome then. We are welcome then. We are talking about the freedom of the oppressed people in West Africa. So where do you hail from? The oppressed people of Biafra, the defunct Biafra Republic that, I don't know how old you are, that fought its war in 1967, from 1967, and the war lasted up until 1970. All right? So you can just be on the ground to listen to us. You are welcome. As long as you come in peace, you are welcome. I'm trying to see. Then Abaribe was asked, okay, how are you going to wriggle out of these? And he was asked different questions. You will see how he responded to it. And at a point, he was also sincere enough to point to the fact that things has gotten worse in the Nigerian state. That today, unlike how it used to be in the days of Oyofoyi, the then Senate president, who was very courageous enough, and of course, if you can flash back, go back to the memory lane, those days when it was not as bad as this, when the Igbos were, at least having that position of the Senate presidency, where we had somebody like Oyofoyi, everything wasn't this bad. Those men of stock, those men of, some astute politicians who had some values, at least played politics with some sort of ethics, they were able to challenge the system such that this National Assembly was not a total appendage of the executive, just like as it is the case today. So I am trying to play the debate or the interview with Senator Engineer Baribe. That's what I've been struggling to do all this while I give a background to to today's program. All right, here we are.
Hope agenda after President Tinubu's lightning reform push was that his administration, his cabinet of ministers, would be an antidote to the mounting economic troubles facing this country. But 18 months on, the key planks of his economic overhaul, cutting petrol and electricity subsidies and devaluing the naira, have sent inflation soaring to nearly 33%, triggering a punishing cost of of living crisis. So, with no immediate upward trajectory in the outlook, blame has fallen on the ineffectiveness of some members of the cabinet, hence the chopping block for 6 of them, including the ministers for education, tourism, women affairs, youth development, housing, and of course humanitarian affairs. But still, there are issues. Despite calls to streamline government bureaucracy and trim costs, Mr. Tinubu's cabinet remains bigger than that of his predecessor, Muhammadu Buhari, who had 43 ministers.
Okay, from this point, before Abaribe is ushered in, let me also tell you. In summary, this man have just said that life has become more miserable, where Tinubu gave very good promises, and his coming in has, rather reduced, worsened situations. Instead of him trying to, as people are blaming his ministers, that these ministers should not just be to blame, because he himself is not helping matter. That the cost of governance, which everyone has cried, pointed at, instead of him trying to reduce it or streamline it, as many people had pointed to it, Tinubu instead has increased it. That even the Buhari that everybody was saying was the worst, it's appearing that even the Buhari has become an angel when you compare. When you juxtapose the two governments, you will see that even the Buhari has become an angel. So let us listen as Abaribe comes in.
So what should we make of all this? Well, for more, I'm joined now in the studio by Senator Enyinaya Abaribe, who's a senior member of the National Assembly and a member of the opposition APGA party. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you. So
Great to see you.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Well, it is a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
What's your assessment of this newly minted cabinet from the point of view of your constituents and your party?
Well, let me just put it this way. My constituents, as far as they are concerned, nothing has changed. Secondly, if you go out on the street, because this time I'm going to say that my constituents are all the oppressed and all the people, they don't call it renewed hope, they call it renewed SHEGHE. They're in trouble.
Are you hearing that? Engineer Abaribe said his people, his constituents, is supposed to be Abia South, I suppose. But his constituent doesn't stop with Abia South. His constituent goes further to cover the whole of the Igbo people. And when you ask all his constituents, the only thing they will always tell you collectively is that the renewed hope of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is renewed SHEGHE to the Igbo man.
And we see it, and we really don't know where we're going with it. I represent Abia South, part of the Southeast. And so the Southeast, we're looking at the changes. So what are the changes for the Southeast? You remove one minister for the Southeast, you replace with another minister. So what do we have? This President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria breaching the Constitution and going on as if it does not matter that he's breaching the Constitution.
And meaning the reflection of the federal sort of spread.
Precisely.
Right.
Precisely. Section 14.3 and 14.4 of the Constitution is very clear. It's also a mandatory provision of the federal government. And so the president has breached it for the past 18 months plus and does not seem to want to, because we thought that with these changes, maybe there will be some adjustments that will also put some balm on what is going on in the minds of people from the Southeast. And sometimes when I discuss with my friends in the administration, the first thing they ask me, you Igbos, what do you want? I want to tell everyone, what do the Igbos want? Fairness and equity, which is in the Constitution. That's all that we want. Treat us as you're treating everybody else.
Okay, I will continue to play, but let me interject. Please, treat us like you are treating everyone else. Begging. Please. Then you will hear this man ask him, for how long have you been in this beggar tribe stuff? For how long have you been? Then you will hear him answer. Begging, please, 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 please. Tinubu come, you please, please. Obasanjo come, please, please. How long do you want to keep in this begging business? But let us listen to him.
The Igbo ethos is Egbe bere, Ugo bere. Let the hawk and the eagle perch. Let no one oppress the other. Every Igbo person is imbued inside us. So anytime that an Igbo person sees that you're not treating him fairly, they come out. And so for the Southeast, as far as they are concerned, okay, you can change, but like the French say, plus ça change, plus ça même chose. The more things change, the more they remain the same.
Right. So basically, your assessment is that the Southeast has been shortchanged in this latest
From beginning.
Right.
From beginning. Okay.
Okay, you heard him. The man is asking, from your own assessment, the Southeast have been shortchanged. You have not been treated fairly. You have been marginalized. So for how long? From the beginning. Okay, from the beginning is as how long? That is over 60 years ago. Okay, let's say for almost 60 years ago, you've been treated this badly. Or at least 54 years ago, or 55, 58 years ago at least. And you want to continue to beg? But let us continue to hear him.
What does this constitution say? The constitution says that you have to have one minister per state. Now, from the Obasanjo government, they started having 42 because they have one for zone. But even President Buhari that did not, as far as we know, have any empathy for the Southeast, still gave one more minister to the Southeast. And so, but what do we have today? Just that 5 for the 5 states of the Southeast. So, when our people say this is renewed SHEGHE, that means that we're even worse off than we were before now. And so, if you're just going to give us only that thing that the Constitution stipulates for us, yet some zones, there are 6, have 10 ministers, some have 9, some have 7. You want to ask yourself, is it fair? Is it just? Is it equitable? If it's not, then if you now tell us, okay, you're doing well for us, we'll wait for tomorrow. As far as the Southeast is concerned, waiting for Godot.
Right. So the issue you have is that it's not whether or not there's one minister from each southeastern state. It's the fact that other states have more ministers.
No, not the other states, the zones. You know,
right.
We have 6 geopolitical zones. So you don't treat one geopolitical zone as if it's an appendage of every other one. That is just what I'm saying.
Okay, now you are hearing him. Even if you should, at least you should add only one more state. Add at least one more ministry. Head of that ministry. Just add one. Every other zone. Now, where they call the Niger Delta is having additional one. That means the former Eastern Nigeria is having 12. 12 in summary, former Eastern Nigeria. Southeast and South-South, this is 2 zones. That is the Biafran land. Now you're asking, we have 6 zones. So 2 zones here now have 12. 12 plus 12, that is 24. Plus another 12, that is 36. So you have additional 6 that is left. Yet there is more ministry that is created though. So you even have another additional 8 to 9 ministries. So who are the ones that have these other ones? Remember, these ministries, money flows there. These ministers have benefits, and they return these benefits no matter how stingy this minister is. The people within that his region, in one way or the other, feels the impact. And the money for this ministry, this money for funding all these ministries, is coming from these 2 regions we are talking about. Because when you talk about Niger Delta, you are talking about Bayelsa, Akwa Ibom Rivers, Abia, Imo, Delta, Cross River. These are the basic, the 6 states of the Niger Delta and the 2 from Southeast. These are the Niger Delta states. So now, this monies that is used for funding these ministries is coming from this part. Tell me if these monies are coming from Zamfara or from Kebbi. Will you get them sidelined? And you think they will complain for 54 years? You think they will just be complaining and be begging for 54 years? Let us continue to listen to them.
And President Tinubu has the responsibility to make things right. So when you come in saying, I'm going to make things right, I'm doing things, and yet you still continue, I don't think that anybody will be happy with that.
How much political traction is the president likely to get in the southeast from the appointment of Bianca Ojukwu, who is the widow of the former Biafran leader Emeka Ojukwu, as a minister? Will that win Mr. Tinubu plaudits in that region, or will they just roll their eyes? I mean, she is actually, her husband, who the late husband, founded the party that you're a member of.
Yes, of course. I'm a member of ABGA. She's also a key member of ABGA. But I think that she deserves to be a minister in her own right. But making her a minister is not meant for the Southeast. And, the point really is that, well, maybe those who are advising Mr. President are not giving him the proper advice. Like I said, what the Southeast want is do to me the way you are doing to others.
Right. So what would
you can give to her. She deserves it. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
But that will not bring the Southeast to say, okay, because you have given to her, therefore it has covered all the anomalies.
So what would have satisfied you?
What would have satisfied us is, okay, fine. You have 50 ministries. You're sharing it by 6. What does that give everybody? At least.
Okay. Before I even go to this part. Yes, there are a lot of our Biafran brothers and sisters who were, agitated. I remember I addressed someone in one of our platforms. So in that particular fora, I told that person, the person was like, why is Bianca accepting appointment from the Tinubu government while we are talking about freedom? So why should she? So not to take too much stories, I told that person that Bianca has never been part of what we are doing. Bianca is a daughter of CCO, a politician. I think CCO know the old Eastern Enugu governor. CCO know. So now she just like others. But the truth is that Bianca never stands in our way. Even as at last week, or is it up to a week, she was in US calling for people to support, to Americans to support in calling for the release of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. So she has her own way, but she's not part of us. Neither is she against us. She's never in any way done anything that means working against us. That's why we don't talk about her. We don't talk her. We allow the coverage of Chief Dim to cover her. So we don't want to interfere in her matter. Why the person, some other persons was like, if we, talk about Tony Ndu's wife, Mazen Amdekano, so we should. So we said, no. They are two different people. Bianca never desecrated, never insulted, never in any way embarrassed or maligned the person of Chief Dim. Never. She never even uttered a word against Chief Dim, at least to the knowledge of the public. So now, this other person is a total different case. So now, talking about this appointment, as we Abaribe referred to here, changing Uju for Bianca is to tell you that you don't belong here. We can only say for that formality's sake of at least that unavoidable one person, that's the best you can get. So Abaribe is like agitated that Bianca merits having that ministerial slot as a person, as to the immediate past wife to the Biafran warlord Chief Dim, who deserves everything in the Nigerian state. So that should not be shortchanged for the normal slot. And he also made a point that I didn't bring in the before I post this last one. He said, Abaribe, I'm trying to tell you. Abaribe said that apart from the regular 1-1 state, Obasanjo brought in a conventional practice where each zone, let's say a region, must have additional one senatorial slot, one ministerial slot, apart from the normal 1-1-1 to each of, because he made it 42. So at least Southeast, after the 5 they do have another one additional share, which that ministry is the representing ministry for the region. So after the one state, but why is it that we are asking for just one? Abaribe will also tell you, at a point he brought the logic of representation, which I captured in my yesterday program. There is no how the Southeast will have any agenda that will fly in the National Assembly. One is that they have been robbed. Why are they robbed? The census politics that Ahmadu Bello played so many years ago is still affecting them. They are told that the North is bigger because North have a higher landmark, which the census logic or figures from even 1950 census till this 1962 census politics, it still favor us. The Southeast, as they call, had the highest number from that earlier 50s. And now that of the 1962 still favor the South. And the North said they will not agree until they manipulated the census to serve their interest. So today, there is no interest that the Southeast will bring at the National Assembly, and that interest will fly because they don't have equitable representation. He pointed it, but he didn't want to flog it to the expected direction to yield the expected fruit or desired result. That I am helping him to do now.
Each zone will get 8, at least. But then some are more, some are less, or at least each zone will get 7. Just like that. That would have now told everybody that you're even-handed. But when you even go beyond that, look at what Section 14.3 says. Section 14.3 says that you will have to run the state in a manner that does not show a preponderance of this from one zone. So what do we have today? The whole of the economy is in the hands of one zone. CBN, this, that, finance, everybody. Just check it. And so you ask yourself, is this what is contained in the Constitution? Section 14.4 also even says that you ought to do things so that you do not make others feel that they are not taken care of. So, as far as we are concerned, We don't think that they are getting it right.
You know, the problem that I notice in this country is that everybody has a beef. It doesn't matter which part of the country you... No, seriously. It doesn't matter which part of the country if you go to the north right now, they have... I mean, what you're talking about, how many ministers they got or whatever, is just, as far as I'm concerned, completely irrelevant.
No, you just asked about the minister.
I know.
I'm dealing with that.
But
Okay, at this point, I want to also add, did you now hear the drift of this interviewer? Yes, there is a clear drift. Oh, Chuma Wandemo, Dobale. You're welcome, Chuma. You are well recognized. You're welcome. So now you can see, this man now is drifting it. He's now trying to, divert this discussion to a way that every part of this country is complaining. So that it's not peculiar with the Igbo people. But you can see that it's very, very fallacious. This Abaribe is here trying to point to a particular problem that is obvious. Let it be. Let Kano State be given just 5 ministerial slots. You will see this country burning. Now he is bringing the issue, the constitutionality of what is practiced now. Now we are asking him, which constitution are we talking about? You can see that the problem even started from the constitution. The problem started from this constitution. The problem started from this constitution. So, the Abaribe's cry, it has no cure, it has no solution. You can see when you want to discuss this thing, even when you discuss amongst his colleagues in the National Assembly, they say this kind of thing the interviewer is saying, that they will always divert the discussion, and them will be helpless. Them, I mean, the Abaribe and his co-Igbo politicians, they are totally helpless. So do you want us to remain this helpless till eternity? We cannot afford to have an infinitesimal, a problem that has no solution infinitesimally. If it is a challenge, at least let it be the problem that has hope of being cured. So let us continue to hear them.
Come to another area.
Well, let's go to another area, because I mean, another area that people have a lot of problems with is the National Assembly, of which you're a member. In fact, you've been a member, that you're one of the longest serving senators by today's standards, or certainly members of the National Assembly. Sure. And for example, Bianca Ojukwu has just been nominated. Her nomination, along with the others, will now move to the Senate, where you work, for approval. Yes. Or, as some believe, to be rubber stamped, because many Nigerians believe that the National Assembly and the Senate simply rubber stamps everything the president does.
Well, let me put it this way. Every leadership of the National Assembly tends to stamp their own
imprimatur
on it. And so if the leadership today feels that they need to work closely with the president, then that may be what will seem to be like this. But don't forget one crucial fact. Most of the members of this 10th National Assembly were new. So they had not imbibed the ethos that we are actually a different arm of government.
Well, and they're supposed to be given training.
No, you get the training, but you get it by doing. I've stayed there for a very long time. That means I know I have had to. At the first time I also came, I think I was also feeling that, maybe this is not what you're supposed to do, maybe this, but that is exactly where we are. It does not necessarily mean that that is what every member of the National Assembly wants. Unfortunately, the Nigerian public does not realize that we also have to do things by votes. And so I may say no to what they like. But once it's once it's put to vote, I know that I now take responsibility for even those things that I do not like.
Right.
Because
now, I think you can see him coming to that aspect I mentioned. That issue of representation and the balance. Now you're hearing him that there are issues that they, like he himself, would not like, but these issues are decided through voting. Then what is his numeric strength as a region in the National Assembly? As we know, we the Southerners, or we the defunct South Eastern region, our consciousness, our natural, our values does not, rhyme with that of the core North. Their value system is totally, it's just like one of the issues that this particular minister was challenging. This particular minister that was just relieved, the Uju, Senator Uju, the lady from Anambra that has been changed with Bianca. Now, you see that she tried to see if she can disagree with the kind of child abuse system that the National Assembly, had to allow. Given that the North are higher in number in the National Assembly, so whenever anything is put to vote, they will surely prevail. Whenever anything is put to vote, their will prevail. Now, Abaribe is telling you that being a member of the National Assembly, insofar as this is the situation, those things these people decide will affect him because he is a member of the National Assembly. So it will be seen by people outside that he was a member of the National Assembly that decided this kind of thing. And tomorrow history will always remind him that he was part of the National Assembly that voted this kind of evil into law. So, like the lady that fought this system and she's eventually sacked, the Uju, she fought the fact that why should you force children of underage? You see children of 13 years, 12 years, you are going to have them into marriage by force. And how can you be having sex with? You two, please permit us. Please permit us. Disclaimer, please pardon us. So how can you, go on doing this kind of thing? It is child abuse. It is child abuse. So this is one thing that she disagreed with, and she eventually got relieved of her job because of this and some other things she wanted to fight. All right, let's continue.
The majority carries the vote.
Precisely.
Right, okay. I'm going to maybe come back to the issue of the National Assembly and how it's evolved over the years, because it's brilliant to have you here and to have the benefit of your experience. But let me return briefly to that issue of the cabinet. Beyond whether the Southeast or, the Northwest got the number of allotments that they were hoping for. I mean, you just give me a broader picture. I mean, what does the fact that the president has been forced to reshuffle his cabinet within just over a year tell us about his judgment of constituting a cabinet in the first place?
I do not think that the problem is the cabinet. That is my own view. My view is this, that there are fundamentals that the president ought to have taken into consideration even before you constitute your cabinet and you decide this is your economic direction. Failure to deal with those fundamentals is where we are. So it doesn't matter who you put there. Put an Einstein there, he will still fail. And what are the fundamentals? First, we're a poor country, very poor, with massive debt overhang. What do you do when you're poor? When you come in and then you have to do something. The first thing you do is you cut your coat according to your size. But we came in, and the first thing is you bloat your cabinet, which means that the cost of governance is not going down. Everybody in this country expected that you should be able to shrink according to, even if you don't do everything, but at least, but now.
Yes, I will play it, but let me interject again. That we are a poor country with debt, too much debt burden. So the debt overhang, according to him, where is it coming from? Are we really a poor country? Are we really a poor country? But let us go with, due to the fact that they have stolen the national treasury to stupor, and they keep getting and expanding the debt overhang, according to him. Now, I want to ask Abaribe, were you not here a couple of months ago, like 2 months now, 3 months, when they protested for end hunger? When they ended the protest, what was the outcome? The people that said they led the protest now came on to say, if at least the president listened to us, he should have known that one of the cardinal things is to reduce the cost of governance. That he should start by, I remember in Yebet, I remember this Sowore friends, and he should at least reduce the number of the ministers and his appointees. That this is too much. They reminded him how he traveled to, how he's flying all over the world, how he traveled to with 1,410 people to UAE, how he has been, how the other ministry that was going to, is it France or where, brought about 1 point something billion for the project. What was the project? So now, the issue is that this grammar speaking in all the national televisions, appearing and granting interviews and doing this and that, does it ever solve the Nigerian people's problems? Then if you agree that it is not solving the problem, why then are you standing on the way of secession? If there is no amount of protest, a second protest was held last month too. Yes, second protest held last month. What result did you get from the protest? Then why do you keep telling people that the division of Nigeria is not a solution? What then is solution? For the Nigerian people to continue to allow you people, why the ordinary Nigerian person hardly go home with 70,000 naira at the end of the month, which you know that 70,000 naira today can only buy half bag of a rice. Then buying half bag of a rice, will half bag of a rice take the person as the only meal for the month? Will it take the person? Will the person cook the half bag of rice with his urine? What then how do you want the human beings to survive in this kind of arrangement? You as a senator now speaking grammar here, you go home with minimum of 14 million naira every month. For doing what? For equassery. For appearing and going and granting interviews, and for that's what actually are you doing? This is for those who doesn't earn. No. For those, in fact, this is not even for the minimum amount a senator can earn, including the ones they get from, because some people, like, thank God you were exposed here. One senator came here to, tell us about other projects. Okay, it was even you. There are some other projects that you people enjoy. The project that you are supposed to deliver to your people, which you end up not to deliver up to 50% of it. For those who deliver at all, you told us that some people collect up to 800 million for the project through the commission. There is a way you said it that is not given to the person cash, but they still have a way of going to collect it. And then some collect, maybe their own project is about 800 million. But for you people from Southeast, according to you, who are always cheated, So it's like 200 million or thereabout. So 200 million, and you end up not delivering up to 50% of it. That is to say, away from the 14 million naira, you still have additional 100 million naira. This is on monthly basis, and it is not included in the quarterly summation. Quarterly, every quarter, the year is divided into 3 in the National Assembly for benefit. So at the quarter of a year, okay, into 4, the quarter of a year, 1/4 of a year, their utility vehicles are changed, and there are some other things that are changed. Some of them wardrobes are changed. While average Nigerian person, so when you are following these people, when they are convincing you that you should not divide this country, you should bear these things and mentioning in mind that these people are having, they are enjoying this life. When you tell them, they now go further to give, lumbersome tithes to your pastors. Then your pastors will help you cage you the more. It is your pastors that help cage you the more. Today is Sunday. I'm telling you this thing so that you take it as a good gospel coming from the Biafran Freedom Television, the Biafran Radical Freedom Television. If you take this thing home, it will help your life. The politicians you are seeing now, Baribe, that is telling you this thing, don't think he's an angel. He is having his 14 million that is waiting. Then his constituency allowance, his constituency project is coming too. According to him, he is one of those who are cheated. His own constituency project doesn't exceed 300 million. There are some others whose own count up to 1 billion, some 800 million. So these senators have excess. So they will always preach to you why dividing this country will not help you. Even those properties you own in the north, if you have a legal tender, if you have a good title to them, in law we call it good title, if those properties are very well backed up, if you acquire them legally, you will not lose them. Are you listening to me? Let me tell you something. Listen. Those things, those properties you own there in the north, if you acquire them legally, those properties you own in the south, in the west, anywhere you own property, you are afraid of losing them because this is one of the biggest fear to some people. Some of these our brothers who have acquired so much properties, they are so afraid of losing them. Unless you did not acquire them legally. So you will lose it. Of course, whether or not you agree with what we are doing, we must get it. But it is better you agree so that it will be much more easier and faster. It is better you agree with us. Freedom is the only thing that will make that very sound graduate of 12 years ago that is doing Okada. How can somebody be a graduate and in the north, all the Tiboribo that you know in the north, even with their poor education, they still fail. So those that even manage to pass with their poor educational system there in the north, they are given good jobs. At the end of the day, you are very learned with good brain, you end up being their PS. Why they collect the money, they pay you peanuts, and you are happy. Oh, they are paying me 100,000 now. They are paying me 200,000 now. This person is cutting away huge sum of money every month. The ministries they chair. Now Abalibi is crying over the ministries that have been surrendered to majorly. He is crying that it's in the hands of very few, the north and the southwest now. How long do you think Abaribe will cry and this cry will change something? The cry will never yield any fruit. As he cry and you are happy, oh, this my senator is very outspoken, very vociferous. He's very, he get mouth. He no get any mouth. All the grammar Abaribe is speaking here, it will only benefit him. That is why when they want to lobby, when they want to introduce something and it needs the approval of the Senate, that is when they used to lobby you. Because these days the president use fiat. That's what we call fiat. They use presidential fiat, which it should be this should be a military language. It's unfortunate it is used in this kind of. That's why we don't even know the system of politics, the system of administration that Nigeria is practicing. Nobody can tell you the economic system, the political system you are practicing today. You that you are watching me, if they ask you, what economic system are you practicing in Nigeria? Because I'm very sure you're not practicing even the free capitalism. Neither are you practicing a socialist economy. So what are you practicing? What are you practicing exactly? Or what political system are you practicing? Or you just have a system every 4 years you carry out election, and this election, is it even what principle even? Because there is no democracy. Apart from the political system, there is also no democracy. The democratic principle, it is just in theory. At the end of the day, you will hear the Kenneth Okonkwo's to tell you that somebody will need to act like Fubara to that is the kind of democracy that they want to talk about. Why he will abandon Peter Obi is because Peter Obi refused to buy the system, the Fubaric system. Which, of course, Fubara is one part and parcel of Wike. So whatever he's doing is the same thing that Wike is doing, is the same thing that the Jagaban is doing, is the same thing that Obasanjo did, the same thing that the Buhari did. So what exactly are you people practicing? That is the question I want to ask you. Your pastor that is telling you that they don't mind those people that they should this one. Ask your pastor, what kind of system are they practicing? After all, their pastor is allowed to. Why he support them? They are allowed to thrive in their dubious religious practice. We don't even know the kind of religion we are practicing either. So you can see that there is no hope anywhere. There is no way, no angle of looking at it that you can see hope. No angle of looking at it. Are you with me? Are you with me? Today, even though some of you went to church, I think I am the real minister today who is preaching the right gospel you need to hear. The gospel of redemption. The gospel of salvation. You need to get salvation because it is only salvation that will help you get relieved of the satanic witchcrafty of your politicians who mount different podiums, including coming to Arise TV and the other Pankaratingom TVs to deceive you. Engineer Baribe is protecting his pocket and his family. Oh, my brother, thank you. That is the practice now, and I will accept. It is kleptocracy. Alin Dume, who spoke truth to power, and because of speaking truth to power, he was relieved of his extra appointment in the National Assembly as the whip, the Senate whip. He was relieved of that. Yes, so brothers, click on the like button while you are here. Click on the like button, share. Share. So that more people will be liberated. The skeleton, I mean the cobwebs that are, closing up their cerebral hemisphere from knowing what is right will, vamoose. So we are using our righteous broom of liberation to scrape off all this nonsense, the witchcraft web cobs from their cerebral hemisphere, so that they will think like human beings, not like monkeys and baboon. Are we together? Are we together? It's all right. Let us hear from Abaribe again.
You have a runaway cost of governance. Everything is being given to everybody free of charge. We are buying new plane. We're doing all that. What do you expect?
You see, Abaribe don't want to be bold enough to call these things by the name. Abaribe is afraid of, before he was a very courageous man who protected. When they asked him, he said, yes, if our people are going for Biafra, I will go. He will not say it again, no. Hey, he will not say it again. He cannot say it again. He now is afraid of saying what doesn't please. He said all this buying, instead of going straight to say cost of governance is crazy, that the Tinubu administration is very insensitive. It is not only Tinubu administration. Let us go back to even the day of Oyofoyi, whom he will mention here. He will mention about Oyofoyi government. Time came when Obasanjo was to buy certain luxury, like the same private jet, let us even call like private jet. When Obasanjo was to do that, Oyofoyi said no. When I mentioned that the Igbo people are courageous people, that is why the Britain will not allow the Fulani to subpedal on their approach towards us. They will never. I remember when Obasanjo was also to acquire, even the man from Ebonyi State, what is that his name? It is only one useless man from Abia State. I can't remember his name. Nwagbara. Yes. It was that one that was a stark, naked stooge. That one was a bloated stooge. Was doing everything, and as long as it will favor. So let me tell you about this one. And they still impeached him. Adolfo Nwagbara. Now this one I'm talking about is Anyem Pius. The same way Oyofoyi stood and said, no, what do you need the private jet for? The presidential jet, is it no longer enough? Oyofoyi said, okay, if you will need it, I need a limousine. I will need a particular limousine with a particular interior. He prescribed the interior he needed. At the end of the day, it was alarming. And the amount to secure it was so alarming. Then the whole chamber, everybody said, that was when there was something that looks like National Assembly. Not now that they have National Tinubu Boy. You understand? Instead of having National Assembly, you now have National Tinubu Boys. All of you remembered when Akpabio and the rest of them were singing, "On your man, there we shall stand." This was those days when they were moving to, I think it was 2 days. Tinubu was to present the budget, and they were just waiting for it. Okay, to present ministerial budget. He was to present the crazy budget. You remember? Some of you, I don't know how many of you that will remember, they were singing "On Your Man." That time, as he was presenting the budget, the next day they were already headed for one program in United Arab Emirates with 1,410 members of that team. And the government funded this. All of them, they came to all the hotels all everywhere. They occupied, and guess what? Maybe one of them would go with 10 women. They wanted to size and test all colors of Western Telewan in Dubai with government money. Why people were crying home, hunger. Those people who really worked, the labor union, the workers, they were old. This time I'm talking about. They were old though. They were old. Their salaries were not paid. I'm not saying old. I mean they were old. They no pay them for their work. And Beribe is about to talk this one now. He don't want to talk it. He don't want to say it. He said like private. This is the thing that the 20 billion naira was to be used has been used. Why don't I know my tenses to use? If I say was to be used, it has been used. It has been marshaled out, and they use it. No matter how they protest, though. In this country, you want to protest? You want to protest and change? Change who? Omonagi will change it. Now your Omonna go change them. And as we speak, Abaribe is still deceiving people that one Nigeria is the best. Abaribe, because of the good ones you did in the past, I forced you. I forced you. But I no go cost you. Better change. Stop deceiving people. If you don't want to resign, maybe you can continue there, but zip your mouth and stop saying rubbish. Abaribe, even in this particular interview, now started to find a way to malign the IPOB movement under Mazi Simon Ekpa. He tried to find a way. But let us continue to listen to him.
Those things must be paid for. What does the man on the street see? He sees you living in extravagance.
That includes you.
Of course it includes me.
Okay.
Yes. He sees you living, he sees you enjoying, and you're telling him things are getting rougher, and he's seeing inflation, he's seeing a cost of fuel, he's seeing the cost of electricity. So what do you expect? All you're going to get on the street is mass anger. So that is the first one. That's the fundamental. What's the second fundamental? So the president is firing every minister. He didn't fire the Minister of Petroleum. Why? Because what is the fundamental thing that we used to have foreign exchange? It's just how much oil we can produce. And so that should have been your very, very focus to say, how do we increase the quantum of oil that we produce so that, first of all, we pay off all the debts that have been borrowed by the previous government. And by the way, an irony here is that this was also an APC government that brought us to this point. And then we have another APC government coming, and that APC government is pretending that that was not part of its history. You see what I'm saying? So that fundamental, the second one, what are those things that we ought to do? You should deal with that. So when you leave all that, bring in 100 ministers, let them also be running around. What are they going to do? Essentially, once you're doing production of oil that is less than 2.3, 2.5, you're not going to do much. So
you should stop crying. Why he should not, or he did not relieve the Ministry of Petroleum, which he is also part of? Because your oil has been sold uphand. Maybe for the next 4 years or so, your oil has been sold. Yes, at least it was confirmed, it has been rumored, and somebody in government said it, and the person reaffirmed it again in Brekete family program. Your oil has been sold upfront. Because he said, or he did not say, he know that Biafra is coming. So selling the oil up front so that those countries will also help him keep the country together, because they already paid, so they will want to do everything possible to keep the country together until they have explored. They have, taken all they need. So by then, maybe that the agitation should have gotten weak. So, Abaribe, my brother, calm down yourself.
you fall back to what? To debt. And then you borrow. And then you go on at the same time to say, I'm going to do massive works. Oh, I'm going to do Calabar to Lagos, Lagos to... Those things are very nice and very... But funded with what? So
although their argument
that is a point.
they're
So
only funding a fraction of it. The rest of it is
so
being
at the
funded by
bottom,
private
you now see that
money.
the fundamentals are not right.
Right.
So you turn around and now say, okay, let me blame Mr. A. He was unable to do A, B, or he was no, it's not them.
Yeah, but just I mean, you make some very interesting points here, and you have a lot of experience in these matters. I mean, you were, for example, at one stage a deputy governor. A lot of people forget that before you then went into the National Assembly and so on.
Yes.
I'm not even going to ask you about your old chum, Ojus or Carlo.
Oh, that's my very good friend.
Now that both of you are
very good friends.
Both of you are in the Senate. How you get along?
Why not? We get along very well.
We're
no longer.
Are you hearing him? They are now friends. They are now partners. No more deputy and governor. They are now friends. Pouncing on the people's commonwealth. They are enjoying themselves. Why the ordinary man is only complaining. Why you complain? Akpabio said you can do your protest. Why you do your protest? That him and his colleague will be enjoying their money, enjoying themselves. Before now, at least those who are stealing the money used to hide it from the public. Today, they do it with impunity and make so reckless, unguided utterances. Not minding how provoked you will be. They don't care. Why? It's because the decadence, there is no more value. There is no more value. They don't value you again at all. Because you are also making the problem worse. How can you be supporting one politician or the other? Why you know that you can never be favored by any of them? You know be tata now, you know be tata. Why should you still be told at this age, till this day, that no politician mean well for you? Why should you be begging to have 70,000 as minimum wage and some other person is sure of almost 200 million naira every month? Every month. And this person is not a governor. The governors that are even eating the most annoying one. They eat the thank you, they eat the very much. Then take up also with security vote. Let me continue to play for you to hear.
Governor and deputy and our colleagues in the Senate.
Because I mean, a lot of people believe that he masterminded an attempt to, in fact, an effort to impeach you, which eventually succeeded in pushing you out. But based on your experience, extensive experience, what do you think informs these cabinet appointments? Is it sacrifice and service to the people, or is it personal and political interest? Because
personal and political interest. Don't talk about sacrifice. Because nobody goes to a cabinet, right? With the president or the governor or whoever making an appointment, we say, okay, who do I choose? Some people you want to choose on the basis of they have to be compensated.
Shebi una dey hear me now? Una dey hear Abaribe? That he himself is confirming that everywhere you have appointment in Nigeria, any day you have appointment, at the state level, at the federal level, it has nothing to do with sacrifice. He's the one telling you, not me. He did not even allow the interviewer to land. He said, Oga, hold it there. There is no point mentioning sacrifice. That the option of sacrifice, that he should blank it. That it is personal interest driven. That it is either you are employing that appointing this person for what he already did to you, or for what his group stand for, or you are appointing because of the election you want tomorrow, or because of that. It is always only based on personal interest. That there is no place for sacrifice. And then you ask yourself, where is that country in the world? Yesterday I was hearing about Burkina Faso. They are no more going to be using all this wig and this thing for chief judges, from magistrates, and that they are going to be using their local traditional wear and design it in a way that it suits them. That is what the lawyers will be wearing now. When you go to wear these things that is foreign and alien to you, you are bringing in something that will never give a solution to the to the problem that is local to you. So let us now go to what Abaribe is saying. Personal interest is only the thing that is obvious, that is present in any way you have appointment in Nigeria. It never reflects the utmost good faith that is required. It never reflects. It's never a thing to take care of public problems, social problems. It doesn't serve the people's interest. It's not in the government's interest. It's not in the people's interest. It is always personal interest. How can a country move forward when the leaders only advance personal interest? Why do you expect something will ever be good in that kind of country? Is it possible? Then Abaribe, how do you know this thing to this level? How come you know this thing with assurance as you know it, and you still want people to continue with that kind of political arrangement as a country? Abaribe, is it not wickedness? I am asking you, Engineer Abaribe. Before I gave you Engineer Oji Beribe, I later reconsidered when I heard you now moving for Mazen and the Kano's freedom again. At a point, you look more real than the other persons. So I now ask, how come you know these things this deeply, and you still advocate that we don't talk Biafra? We should talk Nigeria to be better. We should just talk for Nigeria to be, rearranged. When the ones you have been crying for donkey years never yielded fruit, in my own voice, go yield the fruit. Engineer Abaribe. Engineer Abaribe, I don't want to call you Engineer Abaribe again. No. It's all right. Let us hear him again.
Some people you have to choose on the basis of one group needs to be given something. Some people you have to say, okay, I'm going to take this people based on their competence right, and all that. Those are the criteria that is used.
Well, the reason I ask you that is that I noticed that none of the former governors who are in the cabinet were touched, either through sacking or reassignment. I mean, the likes of Wike, Umahi, and so on. Some have suggested that the president needs them to help deliver votes for his re-election in 2027. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I can speculate on that. That would just be speculation, and that's not the reason. My assumption is that as a president, the best for the country is what you need to do. And so if you find somebody competent enough to do the best job, then you take the person. It does not matter whether, and in any case, former governors don't deliver anything. Quote me, the people who deliver things are those who are right there with the people at their time. Usually what people feel, just like me, if you go by those, this time has passed. How will I now go and say I'm delivering the whole of Abia State to him? It's not possible. Yet I may deliver my senatorial zone because I'm still a serving senator. So I do not think that should be the criteria.
Well, let's turn to that National Assembly again then, and to what I think is a very interesting topic, which is how that assembly has evolved over the many years that you've been there. I mean, you're one of, as I said, a few who have enjoyed the sense of historical continuity there. I mean, how do you think the National Assembly has evolved? How much resemblance does it bear today to the ideals that it aspired to when it was constituted in 1990? Is it a case of forward ever, or one step forward and two steps backwards?
I'll tell you one very, very short and interesting story. When Senator Chuba Okadibo, late Chuba Okadibo, was Senate President, I flew with him from Enugu Airport to Abuja Airport. And when we landed at the private wing, we came out and we met Solomon Ewuga and some ministers. After we exchanged pleasantries, I excused myself from him to use the restroom. I came out and I didn't see him again. And all of a sudden, his ADC ran to me and said, "What are you waiting for?" I said, "Please, they just told us that President Obasanjo was landing. And so I'm waiting." He said, no, don't. The president is already in his car and leaving. So if you stay here, you will miss. So I ran back to go and join the Senate president. And when I got in, I said, "Sir, I'm very sorry, but I was waiting because of that." And I said, "No, I am the head of another arm of government. I don't wait for Mr. President."
You heard him? That is, and you heard the interviewer, that a lot of people believe that the Nigerian case is obviously a case of one step forward, two steps backward, one step forward, two steps backward. That Abaribe now started narrating this good memories of the past. Yes, he nostalgied to the day of his trip or outing with the then Senate President Shoba Okadibo, the Oyi of Oyi land. Okadibo, now of blessed memory, was a very courageous man. Like I said some minutes ago, that Okadibo, when they told him Obasanjo is coming, they're rushing, His Excellency, just like Akpabio would do, just like all of them, the handbag senators and members of the House of Rep would do. That's Okadibo said, no. What do you mean by that? Obasanjo is the head of the executive. I am the head of the legislature. So these are two separate arms of the government. Will that happen today? Will that happen today, I am asking? No, of course. Now, they are not even, Akpabio will even pour red oil on his body, in panic that the president is coming. Jagaban is coming, president is coming. And they will even initiate a chant that will be shortchanged for national anthem. Like they did, I just mentioned too. Instead of singing national anthem, they will, in a way to please on your mandate, and you will see different kind of madness displayed. When you cry of the one Lawan did, you wouldn't know that there is an Akpabio coming. So it keep getting worse. That is what Abaribe. The legislative business have been so compromised.
He said so, and he went away. So now, juxtapose it with today. Is it possible for any Senate president today, when the president is coming, to say, "No, let me go away, I'm the head of another"? No. So you can see that from that initial time, there probably were far more, I would say, independence than today.
Right.
But throughout this time, you could see the reason also. An antagonistic National Assembly to which was what you had with the Obasanjo government, and so you always saw attempts to impeach and fights and everything, and mutual distance against each other, and it got to the point where I think the apex, or this was during the Saraki era, when there was really the presidency cut off from the due to not bringing on board. But from the Lawan era, there was a decision taken also by the leadership at that time. Why don't we cooperate with Mr. President so that all these things can be a thing of the past? Which also happened. And from that time till now, we are seeing this
You've essentially become a cooperating arm.
Yeah, a cooperating arm of the executive. So we also have a situation.
You just say you're subservient to the
No, people just call it subservient. It's not that they are not used to this kind of cooperation. But
Okay. Are you hearing him? This is now, he's trying to make defense now for the same people he's exposing, his colleagues. Now, this interviewer is trying to say in a very simple language that the legislature, the senators precisely, are now obviously subservient to the chief executive. And Abaribe is now running. He don't want to. Simply, they are subservient to the executive. Very simple. That's the truth. And how can a country, a democratic state, move forward when the legislative arm, which is even the most sensitive arm of government, because every organization, every people, they need law. They need regulations. Now, the law-making arm of government is subservient to another arm of government. Isn't it very shameful? How will they function? How will the government be checked? Then what is the essence of that philosophy of checks and balances by AVDC? Or is it rule of law? Where will these things now manifest? Because you are already subservient, you are the law. You understand? Are you understanding me? Now, if there is no expectation of this separate identity where there will be checks and balances, why do you want this union to continue? What is the hope of delivering dividends of democracy? When you are not sure of any time soon this normalcy being restored, so why do you want the people to continue in that hopelessness, in this hopelessness, sorry? You see why we are crying in Abaribe. You know me well for us.
For some of us who are also, I would say, old timers, we also at sometimes advise that it's not everything that comes, that even if you don't want to do it openly, you go back and advise that this should not be done. Right. And I think that's probably what comes. If a Senate president probably gets a letter from the president and say, we want to do A, B, and C, they may just go back to him and say, sir, maybe you may need to amend this, or before I come to read it on the floor. And maybe that is why it seems that things that are brought will go. Right. But when a president brings a minister, you really have to have a fundamental reason for you to say he shouldn't be or she should not be. Right. It's not because
so hence the taking
it's not because
of
you don't
bow.
like the person, or because that's the president's choice.
Right.
It's his choice to say, I want to work with Mr. A, Mrs. B, all that. And so most of them always pass through.
Right. Just briefly before we let you go to the burning issue of insecurity in the southeast and the latest sit-at-home order this week that crippled economic activity across the region, an order disowned by IPOB but still effective enough to have been obeyed by most people. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that what is going on is not obedience. What is going on is fear. People are saying, I don't want to be killed. And
okay, Abaribe, you don't come where they wait you. What is going on in Southeast is not obedience. It's not compliance. It is just fear. People are afraid. They don't want to be quiet. I'm telling you what he said, though. Hey, it's not me saying. Then you ask Abaribe, who is this one inflicting the fear? Abaribe will say, we are. Abaribe forgot to hear where Soludo was telling the Anambra people that if you don't open shop, it will be locked and all of that. He wanted to create a fear in them. And then he would turn out to tell them security day, security day, security day. Security day, oh. Security day, but he is moving himself, protecting himself, bringing security. And he don't want to come out. There is a video I'm supposed to show you. There's a video I'm supposed to show you. Let me check if I will have it. Where Soludo was in a meeting and he heard some, gunshot. He was taking cover immediately. Even when he had his orderlies, his security men. Abaribe is saying, oh, it is fear. How is it fear? Who is then creating the fear? When you tell people if you come out, if you don't, if you don't come out, you will lock your shop. Are you not the one trying to create fear so that people will come to work out of fear? But of course, that's not the reason. The reason is that people sit at home because there is a man who values them that they need to also compensate. They need to also show value for that man. Stand for him, no matter what. That is why we are having the kind of report or satisfactory feedback about the or results simplicity. All right, lovers of freedom, thank you all for joining us live and direct here today. We just exceeded 1 hour. We exceeded 2 hours too, so it's good we caught it here. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for always coming, sharing, dropping your comments, liking, and all that. Thank you. God bless you. Akpan Asuko from Biafran Radical Freedom TV. You have heard the plights of our people that some other people who are misguided want us to ignore it and continue to exist together in this arrangement. All right, have a wonderful day until we come back again, because we will have to come back again and again. Have a great day ahead.